Hey everybody, this is Andrew from Crenshaw Central Gaming, and what I'm doing today is, as you see, there's a rare game in front of me. And this is from Rare Replay. It's a collection of 30 games for $30, all rare video games, and this is a game I've wanted to play for a long time. Grabbed by the Ghoulies. It is one of the rare games that I really never did get the opportunity to play. With Rare Replay, I have the chance to do that, and so I'm going to take it. But not only that, I'm going to do something a little bit different for us. I am going to play the game and kind of do an LP for it. Normally we goof around and we play different video games. This is going to be me by myself playing this video game, and I'm having to record this episode kind of post-commentary because of the fact that the original audio track did not turn out the way I wanted it to, and I didn't like the way it sounded. And I'm already realizing a few things that I'm going to have to do in the future in order to improve the LP. But I really want to play this for everyone. I've enjoyed the time that I've had with it, and really and truly this didn't get a lot of fanfare, or rather it didn't get the best of reviews, and it was kind of considered a misstep by Rare. But it is honestly a game that is very enjoyable, and it's one that I believe individuals should try out. So I'm going to go ahead and start into the game, and you see my test run through where I'm kind of playing things ahead of time. And I'm going ahead and starting out making the new file, and of course I'm naming it kind of after my username. But we're going to go ahead and get into the game, and I like some of the general nuances of it. You know, we start out the game, and the cutscenes are kind of different from what you'd see in a lot of games. And I'm going to get to it eventually. I'm going to press the A button in just a moment, and we're actually going to get into it. But the main storyline here is the fact that, to start out, you and your girlfriend are wandering out in the woods, and you're hiking somewhere, and you make a wrong turn, and you end up in this haunted mansion. She gets kidnapped, and you have to save her. But this game is... it's very interesting. It's one that's enjoyable. And let's go ahead and get into the game, okay? And so here we are at the cutscene. It's coming nightfall. You see our main protagonist, Cooper, and right behind him is his girlfriend, Amber. And like the jerk that he is, she's having to carry everything. He's controlling the map, and like most men, he won't stop and ask for directions, so he's taking a wrong turn at Albuquerque. So he realizes that with the storm coming, they need to find shelter, and so this game starts out like a lot of horror movies have in the past. They see a spooky old house, and so the decision is made, hey, maybe we need to go in there, and of course this is by Amber. And Cooper reacts the way a lot of people would in this instance. Instead of saying, hey, that's a great idea, he goes, no, that's really dumb. That's, we shouldn't do this. I mean, you look at that one main window, and it looks like a spooky face, and then we see our main villain here. And he's trying to fly around, and if you'll notice, he's wearing pajamas. I did not notice this at first, but I've kind of, recent playthrough again, the dude is wearing pajamas. Now Amber tries to wander into the house, and Cooper is trying to warn her to say, hey, there's a house far away. I mean, not too far, not a house, a village not too far from here. Let's go there. Let's protect ourselves. There's the pajamas. You can see Mumbo on there if you look very closely. And he comes up with the bright idea, hey, they want to make fun of me. They want to call this house full of creeps. I'm going to kidnap his girlfriend. And so the gargoyles that are at the entranceway grab Amber and take her away. And so, of course, there we see her being carried off. I like the fact that these cutscenes are set up kind of like a comic book would, and they tell you bye now, have a great day, come see us again. And so there's the beginning of our story. Amber has been kidnapped. She's taken into the house of our villain, and Cooper has to save her. And so he wanders from the front gate into the house, and not a whole lot to say here. I will say that when I looked at the main reviews of the game, it got kind of a mixed bag as far as reviews are concerned. anywhere between like an 8 out of 10 to a 3.5 out of 5. So, 6.5 out of 10 is what GameSpot gave it. So we're looking at a mixture of, some high and some low reviews and some in between. Really and truly, this is not a bad game, and, there was a time, I don't know if it's still that way, but the Rare creators actually considered making Grabbed by the Ghoulies 2. And it would have been more of an open-world sandbox type game like Banjo-Kazooie or something of that nature in comparison to this one. But hey, it's one of those that, having played this one as much as I have, I would really consider it. I think it would be something that would be fun. But as we see, Cooper's wandered into the house. He's surrounded by a bunch of little monsters, which really and truly you see a whole bunch of them there. There won't be that many here in a moment. But these enemies really and truly are nothing to worry about. These little fellas are referred to as imps, and you see them dancing around Cooper. Cooper's freaking out, and we find the movement mechanics. Left thumbstick moves, the right thumbstick attacks. I move the thumbstick in the direction that I want to attack. I can attack behind me, I can attack in front of me, but it's easy enough, control scheme. I can use the left and right trigger in order to move the camera. Around the third video, I'm going to make reference to that again. But here we see the first enemy. They're imps. They're easy. They have very low HP, a couple of hits, and they're dead. And we also notice the fact that whenever they hit me, they take away 1 HP. So, I'm at 50 HP right now. Nothing really big to worry about. Nothing to freak out over. They're dead. And so now the butler, who was scared half to death a moment ago, comes out. Actually, he doesn't come out first, I'm sorry. But he teaches us how to use weapons. All throughout the house, there are weapons scattered all over the place. And when you see a hand over an item, you can pick it up pressing A. And you can use the right thumbstick to, again, attack. More imps come out. That way we can get used to this new mechanic. And a question mark over the door, as we find out that many of these rooms are going to have challenges on them. This challenge is going to be one where I have the opportunity to attack these enemies, but I have to kill every creature in the room so I can move to the next one. But there's going to be a lot of challenges as time goes on. Many of them are going to become more complicated. Some of them are going to become very difficult. Crivens tells us, what I've already explained, to defeat all the enemies. And so let's get to it. So we have the chair in our hand. Whereas this chair is indestructible, the weapons later on are going to have somewhere between 1 to 3 hits before they break, something of that nature. So, not a huge thing, but Crivens comes out, and, he's old at this point, and he leaves the door open because we can continue our search for Amber at this point. Of course, he mentions his name for us. We're at Ghoul Haven Hall, and he is going to be our guide throughout this game. He's going to give us hints. He's going to tell us how we can get through certain areas. He's going to kind of be our guide, and he's also going to end up in certain areas before Cooper does. But really and truly, by the way, there's Cooper's name, Crivens could have saved us a whole lot of trouble, and we're going to see that as we go through this game, because Crivens kind of in a lot of more areas than we're in. And I guess maybe it's his duty to the house that keeps him from doing some of the things that he does. But he's going to give us a lot of help as time goes on in trying to finish what we're trying to go through. Now, I kind of paused the game there, just so I can show off the map feature. And it shows where we are. We're in the grand hallway. We're going to look at the fact that we've killed 18 enemies. We haven't fainted once. We haven't freed anyone yet, which we won't be able to do that for a while. And we haven't found any of the rare tomes. Although we're going to find our first rare tome in just a moment. There it is out in the open on the stairs. And we walk up to it, and Crivens tells us about it. It's a rare weighty tome. What does it do? Well, the bonus book, if you collect so many of them, there's a challenge section outside of the main game, and if you can finish the challenges getting a platinum trophy, you are able to unlock things such as bonus artwork and things of that nature. And so that is there for the taking, and there's really nothing else to do in this room, and so we walk through the first door, and we find ourselves next at the beginning of the game, Chapter 1, The Rescue. We are on our way to rescuing Amber, and we find, really and truly, the most aggravating room in this game. And there's Shrek, who scares us. Now, I decided not to press any buttons here just to show, but there are certain times in the game where we're going to be frightened by certain items, and if we don't hit the buttons in time, you'll notice I went from 50 health to 40 health. It's going to take away some of our energy. It's called a super scary shock. And so it's going to hurt us. But we're going to have 4 opportunities to do this here in this hallway. But you notice, you saw Banjo's head hanging on the wall as we were scared by whatever that was. The alien monster thingy. And if you look over, you can see a monster-fied version of Kazooie, as that bat ran right into the wall for some reason. But we look around, and the creature from the Black Lagoon is there, and whatever that is. And there's the Banjo head. We duck from the bats, and there's really not a lot to say at this moment. The next thing that's going to jump out at us is it going to be the moose? Is it going to be... No, it's the dragon head. Again, there's not a whole lot to say in this hallway. It gives you the opportunity to kind of get introduced to this, because there are certain times where we're going to have to deal with this little item. But, should have to deal with this. I don't think anymore, but there's another bonus book or tome there on the floor. We pick it up and we leave the hallway. So, not a big deal. It introduces us to that, but it's kind of... It's an aggravating thing to deal with at the very beginning of the game. But now we're in the billiard room. And in the billiard room, we notice there are some skeletons kind of talking with each other. Now, this room doesn't have a challenge on it. Not all rooms are going to have challenges to them. So your option there is to, if there's no challenge, you can walk out. Best thing to do is if you can quickly find the bonus book, which it's right there for you ready for the taking, grab the book, head out in the door, and leave. And that's what I do here. I just leave. Skeletons are trying to attack me, but I say, no, I'll come back for you in a minute. Because I'm literally going to have to come back for them in a minute. But we walk into the room where Amber is being held captive, and there we are with the comic book picture again. Cooper opens the door for us. And, again, I really like the way this is set up. It's different for some of the video games back then. And, but anyone who knows any type of movie like this sees her, she's at the fireplace, she wants to be let out, and Cooper celebrates prematurely. And he said, yeah, I got this. I've won the day. Game over, right? No! Anyone who knows anything about any type of scary movie or any action-adventure movie knows that it is a fake fireplace, or a trick fireplace, rather. But it sends a whole bunch of imps into the room, and so Crivens tells us that now she's at the cinema. So she's no longer in the game room, she's in the cinema, and we have to go back through the billiard room. But before we can do that, there are a few things we have to do in the game room. As we see the question mark, and there's a key. So now what we have to do is the key is hidden somewhere around in the room, and we have to find where the key is located. And so he gives us a hint as to where it's at. It's inside a rare item. But the first thing I want to do is I grab a hold of a chair, I get kicked in the shin some by these imps, and I beat them with a chair. But as you can see, if you look, there's a rare item. It has the rare logo on it. So they make it really easy to find the first key. Some of the other ones are going to be a little bit more difficult. But now that I've done that, I'm going to try to look for the tome, and I'm ashamed to say it took a little bit longer than I wanted to. There's some Xbox games. You see Conker's Bad Fur Day, which I know wasn't an Xbox game. But because this was originally an Xbox game, they have a lot of old rare games, but they're set up as, Xbox titles in the green boxes and everything. But the rare tome is actually a whole lot easier to find if I were paying more attention to what I was doing. But I decided to look around and try to see if I can find it, if it's hidden somewhere. In the meantime, I'm also beating up some of the imps, kicking them around. It's really fun beating up the imps because there's really not a whole lot they can do to you at this point. And again, if I were paying more attention to my surroundings, I could have found that mere moments ago. But I wasn't. but if I would just move a little bit, or actually right there in front of me, again, if I were paying attention, I could have found that a whole lot earlier. But again, it's going to send me through back to the billiard room, and now I have to fight against zombies. Not zombies, the skeletons. And I have another brand new challenge, but first, this jerk. Once you're done with kind of the tutorial, which is really and truly all that was, walking me through the tutorial, every room I enter into from this point forward, he changes what my maximum energy is. So there are some rooms where I'm going to have 50, some rooms I'm going to have 5. There are even some rooms where I'm going to have 1, and so when I have 1 energy, 1 hit from an enemy, and I'm dead, no matter what. Slightly annoying to deal with in this game, because there are certain moments where you have a whole lot less energy than you really need, you can really deal with. But that's the way they set the game up, and so something I have to, deal with. But as I enter into this room and I head towards the door, is everything going to be fine? No, it's going to end up slamming in my face, as skeletons come bursting out of the pictures, and the picture sets itself aright. And we have a brand new challenge. The way this challenge works is you see the skull head, and you see a number by it. I have to kill 8 skeletons before I can move into the next room. But it's really easy to do. But before I do that, I notice there's the tome there in the corner of the room there, right by the door. And the skeletons are kind of slow there. And I've gotten 5, and so a bonus challenge is opened. We're not going to look at those quite yet. We might look at some more of them in the future, but all you got to do is grab the pool cue and just start waylaying skeletons. I keep wanting to call them zombies. But the skeletons are some of the more easy enemies to deal with in this game. Now, they can get you if there's a whole lot of them, but notice, now the pool table is opened up and there are hands on it. And I'm going to wait for the skeletons to get close, and I took almost all of them out. I was so disappointed in myself that there was one that was left over. But I killed the final final skeleton. I'll stop calling them zombies soon. I don't know why I'm taking the time to dust off my hands, and I move to the next room. But we're going to stop here, because we've gone about 15 or so minutes. We're at the 17-minute mark, and we're in the lower quarter. We see a soup can in front of us, but we're going to take more time to look at that soup can later as we head towards the cinema. But I hope you all will continue watching, and I hope you all have a great day, and we will talk at you later as we go through episode 2 and we go through the cinema. Later.